Let's make this quick, shall we? Okay, I have a history. When I was around 8 to 9 years old, Pac Man was big. And where was I? In hospitals. I had something we called back then leg perthes, which turned into leg calf perthes. And now I think we just call it hip dysplasia. Long story short, the nutrients to the ball joint or the blood, so feeding the joints, just stops, and because as a result, the hip joint in the femur, um, that's not the femur, in the hip, starts to deteriorate, and as it deteriorates, it starts coming out of socket, and as a result. And this is what we were told for 3 decades. For 3 decades. And I didn't want to get political here, but politics nowadays has no. is everything to do with this. Back then, in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, 1 out of 100 boys could get this disease. Could get this hip disease. Girls, less so. But 1% of boys, and I just happened to have that lucky ticket. And I was in hospitals for about 2.5 years, crawling around in a body cast for a while, and then in traction in another hospital out of state. It was interesting. I don't remember the pain. I remember the fun. I really do. And the people that I got to meet, the different doctors that I had. The first one I think is deceased. We didn't like him anyway. No, just kidding. And so when I started doing these cold showers, this is a cold shower video of all things. Probably my last one. I didn't think I was going to be talking about this anymore. I started about in May of this year of 2022, around beginning to mid-May, and I was taking cold showers every morning. Very rarely did I not take a cold shower and tried to take a warm shower. Okay, fast forward to about November of this year. So that's what, about 5 months. Well, in November here in Alabama, it got really cold. And as a result of that, when you get my age, you can feel it in your bones. I've always heard that, but it's true. Older people, older guys, if you're with me, you understand this too. And so I can feel the arthritis in my hip. I kind of messed up my other hip too, but it's not leg perthes. And I thought it was fixed. Well, about 5 doctors later, he says I still have it, and he says it's still deformed ? On my form. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And I was so used to in the 80s being able to look and see my hip x-rays and see the actual bones and what they're doing, what they look like, and he hasn't shown me. And I'm beginning to wonder if I need to have another checkup on that, or maybe I just need to go see a specialist. Take the time to do that. I need to have my eyes looked at too. But oh gosh, where was I going with this? Is in November it started getting. We had some pretty freezing nights here in Alabama, and I was really feeling it. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to take a cold shower. I'm going to take a regular shower. And when I did, my skin turned red because my skin, I had gotten so used to taking a cold shower that when I took a warm shower, the blood rose in my skin, and I'm like, oh crap, I could really see it in my face. And so now, and it's getting cold again, and it looks like Christmas is going to be very cold, and I can feel it. I can feel it, and it's not that cold yet as of now. It's been cooler, it's been nice, it's been comfortable, but my hips are saying otherwise, and so I have stopped taking cold showers. And I can't say the benefits were immediate. I mean, one good benefit is just it wakes you up. Oh my gosh, and having neuropathy in my feet helped because I could get my feet and start to get my legs wet, and it wasn't that cold. It wasn't. I couldn't feel it as much. But you know, as I've said before, it's your back. I can get everything wet. Get cold water on my face, help wake me up. But if you try to turn around and get ice cold water on your back, woo! I mean, you'll be howling to the moon. But long story short, yeah, too late. Let's see here. Where am I going with this? Is I don't take cold showers anymore. I just can't. Unfortunately, because of not so much my age, but more of my hip issues. Riddled with the colder weather in my arthritis in my hip. And I was beginning to wonder also if having a cold shower every morning was kind of affecting my hips also. Because I found myself taking not just my normal, my doctor prescribed me meloxicam to help with that. And it's low dose, but I'll take a Tylenol arthritis midday if I need it, and I've been taking it lately, and I'm like, oh gosh. And last night, for the first time ever, I was cleaning up in the kitchen, and I was at the stove. It was 10:38. I remember the time exactly, and I was just stood there because I'm thinking I can't move. I'm thinking this isn't good, and I'm like, whoa. So. Oh boy. And just like a doctor told someone else of someone that is over 50 that was recently diagnosed with leg perthes or hip dysplasia as an adult, and he's going to have surgery and his hip replaced. And I'm like, wow, this is big, and it's good, and they're going to do it after Christmas. So please be praying for my brother. Yeah. Originally, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, when I was doing research on this, and they even would tell us it's not leg perthes was not hereditary. We think it is. Our great grandfather had hip issues. He was about my height. I always thought he was shorter than me, but no. Finding some old pictures. My grandfather was kind of tall, but not exactly. He was about 6 feet. Everybody seemed shorter to him. So he may have been about my height, but my great grandfather, who was right from Austria, boy, I could tell you a story there. But he apparently had hip issues, and he walked funny. So this could be hereditary. It was. You remember doing research in the mid-90s and when I was in high school, and I did a project on this, on the disease, and I got an award for it apparently. And I was like, wow, cool, that it is hereditary in dogs, but not in people. Wrong. It is hereditary in people. My family is, and other people have found this out too. And so I think it is in medical journals. I am not a doctor. Do not come to me for information, but I'm letting you know what I have found through my experience and research over the years. Mainly experience, just experience. And my brother's experience too, because he just couldn't believe, because he was having pain in his hip, and he finally went to his doctor, and his doctor's like, "Have you ever heard of?" And my brother stopped him, leg Perthes, and my brother's like, "Well, yeah, my brother had it." My little brother. So, yeah. Anyway, so I have stopped taking cold showers. But I cannot take a warm or hot shower. It has to be tepid water, or it changes my skin color. I turn red, and I'm like, oh, gee, this isn't good. So, so I may not be getting the full benefits of a cold shower much anymore. There's still benefits, but I won't say they're immediate. I'm not exactly body sculpting my body, my fat or anything as a result of all these cold showers, hardly any means. But it does give you energy. It does wake you up. Splashing cold water on your face really does just help your overall day. Sometimes even better than a cup of coffee. I'll admit that coffee helps. But, coffee brand coffee. No, I'm not plugging anybody. So with that, I just want to say thank you for following. Thank you for watching. This is my last video on this because I'm not taking cold showers anymore. I'm taking tepid showers for the most part now. I mean, I'll just barely turn on the hot because I can't even stand it really warm because it felt too hot on my skin. I'm like, whoa, this is hot, and it's barely on. It's barely on. So I have really acclimated myself to having cold showers when I would fear taking a cold shower in the morning to where almost I didn't want to take a shower because I'm like, oh gosh, it's going to be so cold. But I would take the cold shower and I'd feel so much better and so awake. So, and you're not using hot water, etc., etc. So there's still some benefits there, even if it's not bodily. So if your heat does go out and you still have water and you can still take a cold shower and be used to it and be fine with it. Not freezing cold, but it's cold. So that's gonna be the end of this line of this playlist of this conversation. To letting you know, hey, I'm not doing this anymore after about 5-6 months of this experiment, so to speak. So thanks for watching. Thanks for following up. We'll see you next time. As always, have a blessed day. And until the next.